This is The Drive with Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
And welcome to The Drive. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Matt, lots of news coming out of the meetings that are taking place in Minneapolis or just outside of Minneapolis at the Vikings facility. The NFL owners voted 32-0 to allow players to participate in the Olympics.
Wow. 32-0. I mean, I don't know how many votes they have that go.
That would be unanimous.
Right. And we've talked about this quite a bit this week. I don't know how many players will take them up on it, or, you know, what percentage of the roster will be NFL guys. Maybe all, maybe one, maybe two. I don't know. I have no clue. I don't really know. I guess I should look into what the rules are. You know, like they can play some dudes both ways. That's interesting. I mean, I definitely think the dedication to spreading the game of football worldwide is strong with the league, really strong.
Yeah.
You know,
and there will be some other countries that can field teams that, you know, they may have more NFL players on some of those teams.
Yeah, it might not just be American. That's a good point. I mean,
like I could see like the Canadian team, for example. There's, I don't know,
a handful
40
of them,
guys in the NFL that are Canadians. Maybe more than that, maybe less. I don't know the exact number.
It might be a great opportunity for those players.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
You know, some other countries may have some guys that are capable of doing it, but I just think there are some very specific, there are some specialized players who do nothing but play flag football in the United States.
Oh, right.
And they may have an upper hand on some of the NFL players because, quite frankly, the NFL players aren't going to have time to train for this.
That's the thing. Is you're just going to have to pick it up on the fly. And obviously, there's some extreme overlap, but it's not like
the Steelers mini camp is in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
The Olympics are going to take place in July. So if every team's mini camp is taking place as it does across the league sometime in June.
And then training camps right after the Olympics, too.
Yeah.
You know, like you got to wedge it in there your only time that you're off.
Yeah.
But it is a unique opportunity.
It
and,
is.
you know, I mean, it's pretty cool. You know, stay at Olympic Village and go wherever. I don't know. And it's not like these hockey tournaments or whatever where the rules are basically the same. You know, like they are a slight difference, you know, but I think they'd pick it up quick.
Yeah,
obviously,
I'm sure.
of course.
Extreme athletes.
Yes, yeah.
The NFL owners also passed the rule allowing onside kicks at any point when a team is trailing.
When they're trailing. Okay.
Yeah, you
so
have
can't
to be
come
trailing.
Out opening kickoff.
So it would take out of the equation what happened in the Super Bowl where the Chiefs scored with like 8 seconds left in the third quarter. They're down 3 scores or 4 scores, whatever it was.
Can't do it.
And they couldn't go onside. If they'd have scored 8 seconds later, they could have.
I mean, that's a weird example because it's so late in the third quarter and you're getting beat that bad in the Super Bowl. But that might happen 5 times throughout the course of the year. Though, you know, right?
There may be team might be down 2 or 3 scores in the third quarter and say, "Hey, we're going onside." Like, why not? We can't stop these guys.
And I think it goes without saying, but just to reiterate it, I mean, you still have to announce it. There's no surprise onside stuff because it's a different formation.
But honestly, the onside kick is actually one of the more exciting plays in football.
Oh yeah,
if executed correctly.
If it bounces into some of the air, you know, right? It's worth staying around for. It doesn't happen a lot, but still, that's a good rule. I mean, I think they just kind of screwed up the original rule.
Yeah.
You know, why limit it to the fourth quarter to begin with?
I get, it was a brand new rule with the kickoffs. You had to kind of figure out what that was going to look like. So they had to have some guardrails there for it,
and maybe only. You know, the Super Bowl was the biggest instance, but maybe it only happened 3 or 4 times in the course of the year where a coach is going, "Oh, I wish I could onside here." You know?
Yeah.
So it's a small tweak, but a good one.
Yeah. They also, the Lions withdrew their proposal to change the playoff seating before it even got to a vote.
Okay.
I think they realized that we don't have the votes for this.
Okay. And we're fine with that, I think. I mean, again, the reasoning behind it was trying to get people not sitting late in the year, but I don't know that would be the end-all be-all for it, you know.
And again, everybody wants to throw out the rarities that occur.
Right.
Well, this 8-win team gets to host a 12-win team. Well, that's happened like 3 times in the last 40 years.
Yeah, we cited it yesterday. The Seahawks with a losing record hosting a playoff game has happened once.
Yeah.
Okay, it's happened once.
And I've seen the Steelers be on the wrong side of that. Again, an 11-win team had to go to an 8-win team. I've also seen the 13-3 Broncos have to be a wild card and have to come to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Which had won 12 games that year. They were the 2 seed.
It's not that uncommon for the wild card 5 seed to have a better record than the 4 seed.
No,
but win your division.
Yeah, win your division.
Yeah.
That's everybody knows the rules going into the season.
Yeah.
It's not like they surprise people with this. Somebody said, well, what, if a team goes 6, and this was on the message board today, if a team sweeps its regular its division games, and loses all the other ones, they could still win their division. You're not going to see a 6-11 team win a division.
No, never.
The rest of the teams in a division would have to be completely and utterly garbage.
Right. I mean, that would never happen. And they'd all have 2 wins from you anyways. Or
right.
no, they'd have 2 losses.
They'd all have 2 losses,
right,
yeah.
Right.
A 6-11 team, for example, would be, if they didn't make the playoffs, would be picking like 11th or 12th in the draft.
Oh, yeah, maybe earlier.
So you would have to have 4 of the worst 11 teams all in the same division.
The top 10. I mean, that never ever.
That's
happened. Rarer than Seattle.
It's never happened.
It's almost impossible to happen. Too.
Yeah.
A point I wanted to make about that yesterday that kind of slipped my mind is, unlike other sports, every schedule isn't equal.
Well, that's my point with the whole thing.
Yeah.
Mike DeCourcy, who writes for the Sporting News today, was Tim Benz wrote about it in the Trib, and DeCourcy, who I have a lot of respect for, said he was one of the ones that brought up, well, why should an 8-win team host a 12-win team? I'm like, win your division.
Yeah.
This is like this. If you want to go to college basketball, which is what Mike primarily does, he covers college basketball. Then make it a full open NCAA tournament
total
situation.
bracket. Yeah.
And then the ACC champion is the 5 seed.
Yeah.
Because they somehow won a weak conference that year.
Mm-hmm.
But that never happens that way.
Yeah. And my point is, none of the schedules are the same in NFL.
Right. That's what I told him. Like, the schedules aren't equal.
But at least the ones in your division are close.
Right.
The 4 teams of division play a similar schedule, much more similar schedule than, the Steelers, Ravens, Browns, and Bengals play similar schedules more so than the Vikings do.
Right.
To them. It's just the way
you're going to see the teams in the NFC West this year, for example.
Yeah.
Have some reasonably gaudy win totals because they play the AFC South and the NFC South as their crossover games.
Mm-hmm.
It just worked out that way this year.
And
well, of those teams in those 2 divisions, 6 of the 8 aren't great.
Right. And don't project to be great.
Yeah.
One of them will be better than we think. One will be worse than we think, of course. And then there's like the flip side, too. You'd be like, man, the Giants, they got a last place schedule. They should have a nice, easy run. Didn't work out that for the year this year for them that way. They're projected to have the hardest schedule in the league. It's like, it's a bad year to be the last place team in the AFC West or AFC East.
It's just how it works out, and this isn't like college football or college basketball or anything like that. The league, I can tell you
those guys make their schedule.
I can tell you who the Steelers' schedule is going to be 5 years from now.
Yeah. There's a couple of variables, but right.
Yeah, other than the teams,
spots, right.
A couple of spots that are determined by who they match up against based on wins.
Yeah.
Or where they finish in the division.
But you can still pencil in wherever seeding they're in. They're going to play the NFC North team AFC North team.
Yeah, AFC West for example, the Steelers 2020. Let's go to 2027 schedule. That's even 2 years from now.
Right.
Well, we know, based on
there's 6 games no matter what.
Yeah, that they're going to play the Bengals twice, the Browns twice, the Ravens twice, but they're also going to play the Broncos, the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Chargers, Cardinals, Rams, Seahawks, 49ers, and then there are 3 games that are determined on where they finish in the division. They played AFC South, AFC East, and NFC North.
Same
team that finished with the same finish as them.
Yeah, they play West. I guess in the 27 they play all the West,
right.
all the North, and that pretty much takes up 14 of your 17 games.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but if teams were making their own schedule like they do in
football, right.
This 25-win team might not be the same as this 26-win team.
Not even close.
That's why you look at stuff. They have the ratings out there and the strength of schedule and all that stuff comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the NFL, you can't really do that because the schedule is set.
And again, we talked about this yesterday. I like the idea of team building to win your division. To beat your opponents, to be your geography. All that the stuff you deal with year after year. Not, man, we got the Broncos on the schedule in 2027. We better find someone that can beat Pat Surtain.
Which is actually where the Steelers got themselves into trouble in 2016.
Is that like the Patriot?
They built
that was the offseason of man
the
coverage.
The offseason, hey, we got to go out. We got to figure out a way. They had just lost to the Patriots in the AFC Championship.
Mm-hmm.
We got to figure out a way to beat the Patriots.
Yeah.
They were still good enough to win their division.
But how do we get over the hump of the big bad wolf?
But then all of a sudden you run into a team that plays a real physical style of football, which you should have been built to handle in the AFC North.
But usually you are. But
usually you were.
Right.
In that situation, you weren't because,
Yeah, you're looking for Edelman and those guys, right. No, I definitely think that can be a mistake. I'm sure teams do it with the Chiefs now. The Bills and Ravens look around like, okay, we've done well in our division, but haven't got to quite where we want to go. Is it worth sacrificing some AFC North stuff to beat the Chiefs?
I think you can do that if, for example, you're the Bills this year.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at the rest of your division and go, well, we should win our division.
Yeah.
But can we beat the Chiefs?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Ravens might look at this and go, we could lose the division to the Bengals or Steelers pretty easily because they're both good teams. Can we worry about what we need to do to beat the Chiefs or the Bills?
Bills are a good example. I mean, obviously they're stronger on the offensive side of the ball, and they have been, particularly in their playoff performances. But what knocked off the Chiefs? A deep defensive line that the Eagles had. They could really rush the passer, and they drafted 3 defensive linemen, I think, in their first 4 picks.
Right.
I mean, that probably is not an accident.
No, but to that point, that works against anybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's just something that works.
It's never a terrible strategy to begin with. And their D-line needed work. You're right.
Yeah.
Defense needed work.
We'll see about the tush push stuff.
That hasn't been
I still think that is going to be the one that's going to be the most contentious.
Yeah, it seems like the one most talked about too. Yeah,
and I still think there's going to be a reasonable push to make that happen to
eliminate it.
I think so.
I kind of lean towards that too. With 16.
Well, no, okay, that's. I just was looking at the latest update here.
Okay,
it's still.
Time we're recording.
Oh wait, no.
Here.
Proposal to ban tush push in NFL fails by 2 votes, according to ESPN.
So it'll stick around.
Yeah,
they need to get to 24.
They got to 22.
Okay,
22-10.
It was 16 just a month or so ago, or whatever.
So
maybe next.
You're going to see it this year. There'll be some kind of modified proposal to what this was.
Right.
It's going away. It won't go away this year, but I would expect it to go away in the near future.
The way I understand this proposal is just banning the tush push specifically.
Yeah.
I would write it. You can't aid any ball carrier.
I would go back to the pre-2005 rules, where you just can't aid the runner.
Right, no matter who it is. Anyone with the ball in their hand, the offense player can't push them.
No, I've also seen the argument put out there, well, that was never called because teams didn't do it.
They didn't design it.
Nobody did it.
Yeah.
Like there weren't situations where you saw these scrums and these guys just moving down. It didn't happen that way. That's why it was never called. It was on the books and wasn't called because it didn't happen.
Right. Like I was sitting there thinking, if there's a running back fighting for yardage, like Najee often did with a bunch of people around him, he's not going down, and this tight end comes flying over to try to knock someone off the pile and runs into Najee's back and helps him gain 2 yards, I'm not throwing the flag on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's if I'm behind him, driving him and doing the work for him, basically, flag.
Yeah.
So I hope that's how it goes, but we'll see. I guess next offseason.
I think that would get much more support from the coaches around the league.
I would also think it's easier to officiate.
Yes.
As opposed to
you know what it is when you see it.
The tush push.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a designed play.
It's a designed play
with its own formation. I mean, it's coming before they even snap it.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm glad it got close. So it makes me think we'll have one more year of tush pushing.
I would think so. Yeah. And then, I get the other side of the argument that, stop it.
Oh, sure.
Which is okay.
There's something to be said for that.
Yeah. If somebody can show me how you can stop it regularly, then I'll believe that it can be stopped on
I just hope a quarterback doesn't get hurt this year, and that's the reason we get to 24 next year,
Yeah.
especially Hurts because he's the one that does the most.
Yeah, Hurts gets hurt.
Hurts gets hurt. Right.
Don't want to see that, but.
And Mike Tomlin had a great point at the owners' meeting, too, that there just haven't been that many times that's ever been called in the history of the league to judge it.
Yeah. So let's get to a break. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and this is The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. We've got a lot coming at you today. Star-studded show.
Nice.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more right after this. And welcome back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and you can tell by the music that we are joined on the Justin Miller Hotline by Bob Labriola, the Dean of Doom, the Lord of Living in Spheres, the editor of Steelers Digest and Steelers.com. How you doing, Labs?
The Tush push survives.
Barely. By the skin of its, tush. It is still alive and semi-well. Matt and I were just talking about that in the previous segment, Bob, and the fact that it got 22 votes, if you believe the reports that have come out of the owners' meeting here, would suggest that with maybe a couple of minor tweaks next year, we could see that go away.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see it being overturned or banned or whatever the word is until there is something that happens, where somebody gets hurt. Because, it's an offensive play. We love offense. Anything that benefits the offense is good, good for ratings, which is good for everybody. So, to me, the thing that I've been reading that I'm happiest about is that playoff reseeding thing bit the dust.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that one didn't even get off the ground. The Lions pulled the proposal before they even got into the meeting because I think they realized nobody supports
Nobody
this.
else is on board, yeah.
What of the things that Judy Batista speculated on was that what is it, 2026 or 27, it might have something to do with the 18-game regular season. I don't exactly understand or know what she meant in terms of how that would be tied together. Maybe, and I'm speculating here, maybe what she was referring to was that whenever, Roger Goodell tries to, I won't say implement that because it comes down to a vote of the, entire NFLPA. But whenever that is put up for vote or whatever, maybe there is some sort of issue with playoff reseeding tied into that whole 18-game regular season package, proposal, whatever. I don't know, but I'm just glad for now that it maintains the integrity of if a team wins its division, it should get a home playoff game, and it should get preferred playoff seeding through the rest of the playoffs over teams that make the wild card. I believe that. I will always believe that. Maybe I'm old school, but that's the way I think it should be.
Well, let's go down the rabbit hole with that, Bob, because if you're going to do that when you also go to 18 games, one of the things that
we think 18 games is definitely happening.
At some point, 18 is going to happen, and it's probably in the next few years. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons why that this was tabled was because of that, as Judy Batista wrote. If you're going to do that, shouldn't you then, instead of having 4 divisions, have 2 8-team divisions in each conference to make it more and maybe you don't play everybody twice, but maybe you play everybody in your division once or something along those lines, just to make it more equal, because you're going to have to figure out a way if you're going to reseed the playoffs like that. my 12-4 record might not be the same as your 11 or 12-5 record. Might not be the same as your 11-6 record because we don't play the same teams. You got to find a way to equal out the schedules a little bit more.
Well, again, I think that the NFL regular season is lessened if you don't have two Steelers-Ravens games. I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah.
Two Eagles-Cowboys.
I mean, even Bears-Packers that have happened forever. And things like that,
Packers-Bears, whatever. I just think that some of those divisional games, and when the league realigned for the 2002 season into 4-team divisions, 4 divisions in each conference, 16-game schedule at the time. I mean, it just made perfect mathematical sense. But over the course of that, it also, I think, created rivalries that are good for television, that energize the fan bases. Excuse me. And so, again, I think that if you're cutting back on some of those divisional matchups, I mean, maybe, Houston against Jacksonville doesn't move the needle. But as I was just saying, Pittsburgh-Baltimore definitely does. I'm
just not sure where they get the extra game at when they go to 18 games. Because right now, as we know, the schedule works out that you play with the 17th game added. Well, now you got to play one extra team in the other conference.
NFC's new, right?
And it rotates through. But as things are now, you play your schedule. You play another division within the conference. You play another division outside of the conference, and then you play the 3 teams within your conference that finish with the like record as you.
I've heard some people throw out trying to create new rivalries. Eagles play the Steelers every year. The 2 New York teams play every year. The 2 LA teams play every year. But you start you start connecting the dots.
But there's still going to be an extra game though, because if that year that you're playing you're going to play the Eagles twice.
I would say that
when you're matched up against the NFC
one every
East?
4 teams, if they happen to be the same seed as you. It would happen rarely.
So we're going to have to see some kind of tweaking of the schedule one way or the other.
But what's funny though, like when you do the AFC, NFC, and you draw a line from the teams that all should play each other, there's not as many obvious ones as you think.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you got Arizona playing the Dolphins or something.
How about this? The 18th game is an international game.
You still got to play somebody.
You still have to figure out who you're going to play, though.
Yeah, but I could definitely see that.
I
think that will happen.
I'm just looking for
2 bye weeks.
Things, because I think that's another area where the league's going to want to continue to grow and expand. And so if the 18th game is an international game, maybe they figure out how to work that out. I don't know. Make more teams playing overseas. Make more teams play overseas. Maybe it opens up more venues, more different countries.
I definitely think that's in the works. I think the 18th, when it gets to an 18-game schedule, I think every team will go overseas once.
Yeah, I think that's all part of the process there. I just don't know how you pick that additional team that you're going to play.
Could even be random,
unless it's the other, because you play one division in each conference outside of every year. Like I'm looking here at the Steelers' schedules for the next 4 years. So in 2028, they play the AFC East. They also match up against the NFC East.
So you get all 4 of those teams.
They have the NFC South team that finishes with the same record as them. They have the AFC West and AFC South teams that also finish with the same record as them. That doesn't leave any other divisions.
Let me just throw this out. It's not the same record. It's the same
spot in New York.
Right.
The only other thing that they could do would be to match up against the other team from the NFC that you don't play that year. So, for example, that year they play the NFC South.
You play 2 third-place teams in the NFC or whatever. Or knowing the NFL, I just dawned on me, I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but everyone on the planet would tune in at some boring time of the year. You get a bunch of ping pong balls. Here comes the Steelers, and then you pick one out of the NFC bin. Oh, you got the Commanders this year. That's your last game. Okay, everybody would watch.
That's true.
Yeah,
everybody would watch.
Hopefully, that's also the same year that the NFL goes to my greatest fear for the draft. One pick a day for the entire month of April, and it's a.
Boy, I'd be on the air a lot, lad. I'd really be on the air a lot.
Matt Williamson on the air.
Hey, I mean,
400 hours in the month of.
Right, I'll give you a couple of years to get those vocal cords.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe you can start doing bench presses with your esophagus or something. I don't know. But I don't know. I just think that, and I always suggest that to be absurd. But I think that, absurdity sometimes.
They could really stretch it, though.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I do think there's a lot of merit, though, to building your team to win your specific division. Your geography. What are the how do we, did the Steelers draft Waya Black if it's not for Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. And I think divisions have developed identities.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about that, yeah.
And, I like it. It interests me, when there are random games on, I would rather watch a division game usually. I mean, there are obvious exceptions. But, I mean, if, for example, if it's, Buffalo against New England or the Cardinals against Jacksonville, I'd watch the division game. Just because even when it seems like, for example, Buffalo against New England, you look at those two teams right now, that would not seem to be a very closely contested game based on what you think of those teams and where they have been recently in terms of standings and stuff. But division games, I think, are always more likely to surprise you with the outcome because of the familiarity of the teams.
We mentioned earlier, too, like Jags, Texans might not move the needle, but it might in 5 years. Stroud and Lawrence are great, who knows?
Yeah. But anyway, I'm a believer in the division thing. I like a lot about it, and I would be in favor of maintaining that.
While we're on that subject, Bob, and I just thought about this, we haven't really talked about Cleveland trying to build a dome up in Cleveland, out by their airport. That is non-AFC North type football. I mean, when you think about the AFC North, you're thinking about teams that are playing out in the elements and,
sure.
and doing those kind of things. It just kind of goes against what the division is about in many ways.
Sure. But, I mean, I think that is a reflection of their current ownership.
Mm-hmm. So it's not even retractable, huh? I mean, it's just a dome.
I think it's just a dome. Like right. Buffalo is building a new stadium right now. If somebody wanted to say if Buffalo should have a dome, and I would get, okay, I get it. Minnesota should have a dome.
Right.
Because it's ridiculously cold up there, in the middle of the winter.
Mountain of snow.
But Buffalo said, no, we're not building a dome because this is what we are. This is part of our what makes us the Bills. The Browns building a dome stadium in Cleveland goes against the AFC North in general and what they should be.
It does.
And what everything you think about, Sundays on the shores of Lake Erie.
It actually takes away one of their few things that gives them an advantage on some Sundays. Like there have been some games up there where weather has been a major factor and it levels the playing field. Oh, yeah. For some bad Browns teams.
Or Red Right 88.
Or that. You might want to explain that one to our younger listeners. But
yeah, Red Right 88, that was a brutally bitter, cold day where the Browns were hosting the Oakland Raiders. And they were in position. The Browns were in position to kick a game-winning field goal. And in his I don't know, I'll call it genius, Sam Martigliano decided, well, let's run one more play. And he tells Brian Sipe, if it's not, the play was red right 88. If it's not there right away, throw it into the dog pound, we'll kick the field goal and win the game. Well, Brian Sipe didn't do that. He threw the pass into the end zone. It was intercepted, and the Browns did not get to go to advance. That wasn't an AFC Championship game, I don't think.
No, they saved that for games against the Broncos.
Yeah. But, the Browns were very much a Super Bowl contending team that year, in my opinion.
Oh, they were many of those years during the 80s, yeah. They just couldn't get over the hump.
So, it was, I laughed very hard that day, that afternoon, I remember. It was very enjoyable. But, that's a day, like you were describing, Dale, where it should have been an advantage for the Browns. Cold, raw, windy, icy, all those things against a California team, but they still choked. So, getting back to the original point, I wouldn't be in favor of a dome in Cleveland. I don't think you need a dome in Cleveland to pack the joint. Those fans, it's like putting a dome over Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
I just don't think that those fans need that to show up. What they may need is, a respectable competitive team. But who knows? Maybe ownership now believes up there that it's easier to build a dome than it is to be a respectable competitive team.
Labs, do you see the Browns as a distant fourth in the North right now? I do.
Yeah, I don't know. Distant. Last is last. To paraphrase Juju, last is last. The Browns is the Browns. I just don't have a lot of belief that, I think ownership up there sometimes gets a little too involved. That I will never forget the look on Andrew Berry's face, their GM, when they announced that Shedeur Sanders pick.
Yeah.
I mean, so who knows? I don't know what to expect from the Browns. They don't seem to me to do a lot of things where after they do them, you say, "Oh, that makes sense." Even the Myles Garrett contract, the Deshaun Watson trade, and the contract they gave him, the Johnny Manziel pick, the Brady Quinn pick. From the franchise when it entered the NFL, the Cleveland franchise entered the NFL in 1950. It was so. It was almost like a well-oiled machine. The Browns were always, always, always near the top of the Eastern Conference. The NFL even attempted, because the Browns were absorbed from the All-American Football Conference, the NFL even attempted to embarrass them by their very first NFL game. They had to play the defending champion Eagles. And the Browns kicked their butt. The Browns were also very progressive in terms of African Americans, Bill Willis, Marion Motley, all those kind of guys. All the innovations Paul Brown made in terms of game film and, all of that stuff. The Browns were the first franchise to have radio helmets and the radio signals in the helmets so that Paul Brown could communicate directly with the quarterback.
That franchise is still doing pretty well. This is just in Baltimore now.
Right. But, again, like I said, so many things about that franchise were cutting edge, so well thought out, just kind of, I won't say militaristic, but they operated like a well-oiled platoon of soldiers, or whatever kind of comparison you want to make. But now, I mean, I don't know. You just never know what's going to happen. And as I said, very rarely after it happens when you go, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Wish I had thought of that.
Labs, you might have noticed it from the article I wrote from you recently. I was not a big fan of the direction of their draft either.
Right. I mean,
doesn't add up to me at all. No offensive linemen. What are you doing?
Yes. And all the picks they had, it just, I mean, I don't know. And the trading away from Travis Hunter.
2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs. What are you doing?
If they had, as you pointed out, if they had used that bounty they received from that to address the issues that their roster had, then okay.
Yeah.
But they blew those picks.
I thought
all
so
those
too.
Picks.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't understand it.
I mean, right. Can't understand it.
Well, Bob, this is why we have you on the show, because you are a true historian of the game, and give us some insight into not just the Steelers, but some other teams in the division. And
I think people forget that's 2 different franchises. You know, I mean, the good one left town. the bad one, right.
And that's why the Steelers hate the Ravens.
Yeah.
Because at the time, with Steelers Browns was bitter from the beginning.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And the Ravens are Art Modell's Browns.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a lot of hatred there already built up. They didn't even have to. A lot of times, with a new team, not that the Ravens were an expansion team, but you catch my drift. It's a new team. It takes a while before you start hating them. I mean,
that was a team that the Steelers had just played in the playoffs like 2 years before that, when they were the first Ravens team. Like, they had just met in the playoffs
and beat them 3 times.
Yeah. So it was, I mean, that was a lot of crossover.
When you think about it, the Steelers have done that twice to that franchise, 1994 and 2008.
Interesting.
Beat them 3 times.
Yeah. Well, Bob, we will let you go, and appreciate you dropping by. We didn't get to talk all that much about the tush push and all that stuff, but plenty of time to talk about that. And there's plenty out there about it. Everybody has their opinions about it, but.
And thank you for not making me talk about OTAs.
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem at all. Are you going to OTAs?
I said we'll be broadcasting from down there next week.
I don't know. I mean, if you guys are going to be broadcasting, I'll come down at least once just to make fun of you.
Stop by the cafeteria at least,
Or you can stop by the table and talk to us while we're on the air broadcasting during OTAs.
Okay. All right. It's a date.
There you go.
Sounds good.
There you go. Our guest has been Bob Labriola, editor of Steelers Digest and Steelers.com, the Dean of Doom, the Lord of Living in His Fears. He's Matt Williamson. I'm Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. We will be back with more right after this. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And as Bob Labriola just said there, Matt, next week, OTAs.
Yeah, we'll actually see football stuff.
Couple of weeks of OTAs, and we'll get a week of mini camp as well. When I say a week, they actually go Tuesday through Thursday.
Okay, right.
So it's really 9 practices on the field. They are football-like.
Yeah, it's football-like. So
they are more involved in the rookie minicamp.
So, funny, I was on a Dynasty podcast this morning, and I guess Tootin, first time they hand him the ball, he fumbles in OTAs. Ooh. And we know he's a fumbler. I'm like, and they're like, should we be worried about it? I'm like, the big conversation was, do we overreact to OTAs? I'm like, yes, you overreact to OTAs. But nobody hit him.
Nobody hit him. He's not even wearing pads.
Right, I was going to say.
Like, you can't even say, well, I hit, the handoff hit my shoulder pad and I
fumbled. Right. I'm something like, that's not a great sign for a fumbler.
Somewhat concerning.
A nose tackle didn't blast him and the ball went flying out.
And he knew he wasn't going to get hit.
Yeah, he's probably just like, don't fumble. Oh, man, I fumbled.
Don't think about pink elephants.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but next week we got Memorial Day, no show.
Yeah.
3 from down there.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday down there. Friday, no show. So basically from here on out, folks, at least until training camp starts at the end of July. And I'm just guessing here that probably starts sometime around, if you can do the math, just go backwards 2 weeks from when they play their first preseason game.
Yeah, so when camp opens, you're talking about.
So you're probably looking at somewhere in the the 4th week of July that the training camp will start. We will go back to 4 days a week.
5 days.
And actually, 5 days a week. Actually, during training camp,
that's
every day they practice, we do a show.
We do a show.
So
which
sometimes
is often
it's
more than 5 days.
7 days a week.
Yeah. Right. So it's good stuff. So we'll have 3 shows. Players should be joining us next week too, right off the practice field.
We will have player interviews and everything. I should say though that we won't have video down there. Friday of this week will be our last day for video on YouTube.
Until training camp.
Until training camp starts off, and we will have all of our shows at training camp throughout the rest of the season. Then
but you can find us in like every other platform out there. Right?
Yeah, you can still listen, and obviously we'll still do our Twitter Thursday and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it won't be much different. Good stuff.
But that's just
I'm just like to get back down there, and I haven't seen any of the new players in person yet. Really, I mean, I want to see. You're like. Wyatt Black is ridiculously huge. I've never seen Metcalf in person. I mean, I bet it's a little whoa, So
we'll get an opportunity to do all that next week. Again, we'll be broadcasting live during the OTA practices. So we won't
be commenting on like, boy, that was a heck of a catch, or boy, that was cover 3. Or, right.
But we will have players coming over to join us once the session is done. So you'll want to hear that. We'll get some interviews with some of these guys. There's a list out there of guys that have been requested.
Oh, cool.
You'll really like the list of guys. We'll get some we won't get all of them, but we'll get some of them because there's only 9 sessions total. But you will enjoy listening or being able to hear these guys chat with us for 10 minutes or so at the end of the show. You won't want to miss that, and you can't get it anywhere else.
That's the key.
That's the key. That's why we do these shows. But that's going to do it for hour number 1. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. You're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. We'll be back with more right after this. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And Mike Clay, soon after the draft, put out his projections for each team's stats for the year.
Oh, yeah. He's kind of like well known for it, right?
And he does this from a fantasy football perspective. That's what he does largely. So I wanted to take a look here. Today he has put together what his projections are for the top 5 rookies at each position.
Okay. I'm going to interject super quick because I mentioned I was on that Dynasty podcast today. My co-host mentioned we were talking about Tush Push. If it became illegal, Mike Clay was already put out. He was going to take 2.8 rushing touchdowns away from Hurts and give him 1 passing touchdown. I just found that crazy. Like, one rule change would be that big a deal in his projections. But I guess it would,
So
rookies, right?
Yeah. At the quarterback position, he top 5. He has Cam Ward, number 1, 3,392 yards, 20 touchdowns in 15 starts for Cam Ward.
Would you take that if you're the Titans? They don't mention the interceptions on there.
They don't, but I guess
seems like
I
a
would.
reasonably successful. Yeah. There's not a lot around them. Seems about right. Probably. Do they have rushing yards and things like that on there either?
Just passing.
Maybe 300 rushing yards?
Just passing yards and touchdowns.
Okay. Yeah.
The second quarterback on here is Tyler Shuck. He has him with 13 starts, 3,020 yards, 13 touchdowns.
I bet he throws more touchdowns than 13.
That's only 13 starts that he's projected. Yeah. So,
I mean, it's not the greatest supporting cast, but it's not horrendous.
Jackson Dart has him making 9 starts this year.
I'm leaning that way, too. I mean, as difficult as their schedule is and all the things they got going on, I could see them losing a lot of games early on.
He has him 1,968 yards and 10 touchdown passes.
I think that's pretty safe.
Dylan Gabriel, 5 starts.
Wow.
1,205 yards and 5 touchdowns. And then Shedeur Sanders, 4 starts,
Boy.
925 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Back to our conversation with Bob, being a distant fourth in the division. If those guys are starting 9 games between them and neither one has all 9.
Things went bad.
I mean, whoever got in there first didn't do well.
Yeah.
And doesn't mean the guy that followed him did much better.
Yeah.
In a typical, like in our league, I don't think any rookie quarterback even gets drafted.
Probably not.
I mean, maybe Ward gets picked up in week 6 or something like that.
So he needs a bye week starter or something,
right.
But yeah.
It's a rough situation for him.
Receiving yards and touchdowns.
Okay.
This isn't receptions. This is just receiving yards. Tet McMillan, 926 yards, 5 touchdowns.
That'd be a successful rookie year. It's probably not rookie of the year stuff, but that's a successful rookie year.
Matthew Golden, 889 yards, 6 touchdowns.
Same. Later first.
Travis Hunter, 884 yards and 5 touchdowns.
I don't know that I would have Golden 2, but okay.
Jack Beck, 747 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Interesting, he's the 4th one.
I think he's looking at opportunity
here.
Yeah,
I mean, I think he's probably an opening day starter.
Yeah. And then number 5 is Jaden Higgins, 723 yards and 4 touchdowns.
He could have a little tougher path to playing time because I don't know if it's crazy that Noel out-touches him this year. I mean, I would bet on Higgins.
And this is the thing when we're talking about, the Steelers didn't draft somebody to replace George Pickens this year.
Mm-hmm.
These are guys that were drafted in the first round.
Early second, right.
Early second who had a clear path to playing time,
mm-hmm.
and these are their projections.
And I don't think their projections would be vastly different if they were landed in Pittsburgh.
No.
I mean, Betch or Higgins or, right.
Yeah. Rushing yards
like
and
last
touchdowns.
year had to be a million times different.
Better,
Neighbors and Harrison and McConkey and guys that had clear paths to being their one.
Yeah. Ashton Genty's projection is 1,120 yards and 7 scores.
I'm going over. That's a run-heavy offense. No competition. I'm going way over.
If it came down to that, if that was Genty's rushing total, and we already went through Cam Ward's passing total,
mm-hmm.
who wins Rookie of the Year?
Quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, Baker beat out Saquon, and Baker didn't play like the first 5 or 6 games of the season. They both had good years, but Saquon should have won it.
He should have won it.
Yeah. Now, if the Titans end up with like 2 wins in the process, then
a little rough, yeah.
Yeah, then he doesn't win it.
Omarion Hampton is second, 961 yards, 9 touchdowns.
I can see that. I can see Najee being the goal line vulture, though. I mean, who knows who gets that?
Yeah.
I think Hampton's the lead back by week 4.
Number 3 on this list by Mike Clay, Caleb Johnson.
Wow, I would have went with Harvey.
947 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns.
I would take that right now in a heartbeat.
If he 947 and 7
he's knocking on the door on 1,000.
Is pretty damn close to what Najee produced.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's.
And he probably does it in fewer touches because Jaylen Warren's going to get more.
I know we could find them, but I'm sure Clay gives Warren a pretty decent share.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be 50-50.
I don't think Johnson gets to the 299 touches that's where Najee was. That Najee Harris had last year.
I don't either. Absolutely. I mean, week 1, I bet he touches the ball 12 to 15 times, and then it goes up from there.
Yeah.
But I would take that if you're close to 1,000 rushing yards.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Quinshawn Judkins, number 4, 922 yards and 6 touchdowns.
He's going to get a bigger timeshare than Johnson, in my opinion. I just think it's a worse situation.
Yeah.
Or carry share.
Right.
That's fair.
And then 5 is R.J. Harvey. 841 and 5 scores.
I wouldn't be happy with that if I was the Broncos.
It's still better than what their lead back did last year. And I'm
sure.
And I still think they want some kind of committee there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Harvey's not going to. I highly doubt Harvey plays any third downs. I don't know that he can pass block at all.
I don't know. I mean, I guess he'll have to prove that in camp.
Yeah.
I think that's more of a to be determined. But I still think Harvey and Judkins are in line for more touches than Johnson.
I don't know that they are because just with what Arthur Smith wants to do offensively.
Maybe more than Hampton.
There were only 4 teams in the league last year who ran the ball more than they threw it.
Sure.
And the Steelers were one of those.
Right.
I think the others were Green Bay, Baltimore, and Philly.
Yeah.
Those are the only 4 teams in the league that ran the ball more than 50% of the time.
Mm-hmm. And that probably won't change.
I don't see Denver suddenly going, hey, we're just going to run the ball, 52% of the time. They're probably still more of a 55 to 60% throw team.
This isn't what Clay's doing here, but I do think their backs always catch a ton of passes, though. I mean, that's just a Peyton thing.
But if he's not out there on third downs, is that him?
I mean,
who's the little
McLaughlin?
McLaughlin. I think Youngstown State.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's not a bad player.
No, he's not. But if I'm doing a fantasy draft today, Johnson's my 3rd pick of the 3. And I might take Harvey first, even though I think he's the worst player of the 3. Subject to change, but I mean, Najee's a problem, including Hampton there, not Judkins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I guess people probably thought.
Oh, you're talking Johnson, Judkins.
Right. No, I think Judkins is clear path to. He's like Harvey to me in terms of.
They did draft 2.
I know. Where would Henderson fall for you?
That's a tough one.
I really like the player, but I don't know how many touchdowns he's going to score.
Of all the players that we're talking about here, I mean, they gave Ramondre Stevenson money.
Yeah, he's good.
And if they're not using Ramondre Stevenson, Robert Kraft is going to go to Vrabel and go, hey, why are we paying this guy $10 million a year?
Right. I know he fumbled some last year, but
he didn't
he's
do
still
it for
a ball
you.
carrier.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Henderson might be 4th for me. Maybe he's a year away from being the guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's a little stat for you that Clay has in here. Since 2011, 13 of the 74 running backs selected in rounds 2 and 3. It's a lot of running backs in rounds 2 and 3. Right. Have reached 800 rushing yards in year 1.
Wow. And that position gets hurt. That's a pretty low number.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
14 of them have reached 6 rushing touchdowns. So when you're projecting,
that's day 2 picks. We're not talking about 5th rounders.
When you're projecting 3 of those guys to go over that number, that's actually a lot.
It is a lot. But it's a good class, and I could see it. Again, I would take it if Johnson got there, just from a Steeler perspective. I mean, you got to prove yourself for a little. I mean, it's back to the toot and fumbling thing. That's one thing I like about Henderson is I think day 1 they'll trust him in protection and to hold the football.
Oh yeah,
I mean, maybe more so than some of these other guys.
But I think Stevenson is the better between the tackles runner and those kind of things. That he's going to get the majority of the carries.
I've always been a Stevenson fan. I think he's very talented. Yeah, and their offense probably isn't good. Neither is the Browns, by the way. Right.
Touchdowns from scrimmage.
Okay.
Omari and Hampton with 11.
Whew. I mean, he scores from distance.
Ashton Genty with 9.
I would still pick Genty.
Caleb Johnson, 3rd with 8.
Whew. I don't know how many of those would be through the air.
Well, according to this, 1.
No, I couldn't remember if it was 6 or 7 projected.
And then their 3-way tie for the last spot. R.J. Harvey, Quinshaw Judkins, and Travion Henderson with 7 each.
Okay. I would take that if I were all those guys. Those teams, 7. And I'd take 8 from Johnson for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
None of the receivers.
It could be a real weak rookie receiver class.
Yeah.
Hunter might explode, though.
Tackles.
Oh, wow.
Malachi Starks leads the way with 71.
Surprised the safety. I would have guessed it's like Schlesinger.
Nick Martin with San Francisco, 58.
He's a 3rd-round pick. I know he's not a guy we talked about a lot, but I guess he'll be an opening day starter.
Be active, yeah.
Yeah.
Jahdae Barron with the Broncos, 58.
He'll play a lot.
Andrew Makuba with the Eagles, 56, the safety.
Yeah, but I don't even know if he's a starter.
Yeah, and then Jihad Campbell with the Eagles with 56. I would have gone with...
I would go with Schlesinger.
Schlesinger, I think, is a day 1 starter for the Browns.
33rd pick, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no competition. He's going to be out there all the time. Their defense might be out there a lot. I would definitely go with Schlesinger.
Sacks.
Okay.
Abdul Carter, 6.
Would you be happy about that as a Giant?
Well...
I mean, Thibodeau
exists. Is he a full-time player? Yeah, they got other dudes.
I know. That's why I throw it out there. You would think immediately the answer is no, but he may not be out there on first down a ton, you know.
Michael Williams was 6. Also, Jalen Walker was 6.
Okay, I'll take the under on Williams.
Tied for 4th place, and finishing off this, James Pierce with 5. So if the Falcons get 11 sacks out of their 2 first-round edge rushers, are they happy?
Yeah. I think both are part-time players.
They're like a 17-sack team every season.
I would say it helps.
Yeah,
I mean, at least it's
better than what you've been getting.
It's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Neither one's very big. Like, I don't know if they're out there on first downs either all the time.
Well, somebody's got to be.
Right. But it won't be the pair of them.
The last one on here, tied with Pierce. Tell me you're not going to laugh about this one. Shamar Stewart with the Bengals with 5.
Boy.
That would be more than he had in 4 years of college.
Yeah, and he's currently not even participating.
He's not even participating. Yeah, he's
not happy as we
He's
speak,
sitting out because he doesn't want to get hurt while he's not under contract.
And what if Hendrickson's not out there to eat up double teams? I'm taking the under on that.
I would take the under on that as well.
Yeah.
5. That's a half sack more than he had in 4 years of college.
I wonder what the rookie sack record is. I mean, it's pretty uncommon to get to double digits.
Yeah. Well, I think it largely depends. What was Reggie White considered his first year?
No, he's cheating, though. I mean, he played in the USFL, and he was...
I get it, but he was still an NFL rookie.
And it's a big number for him.
It was a big number.
Right. He's a big man.
Interceptions. Starks with 2. Jahdae Barham with 2.
Okay.
And then a whole bunch of guys with 1. You're looking at Makaba, Xavier Watts, Maxwell Hairston, Nick Emuwari, Darian Porter, Will Johnson, Trey Amos, Travis Hunter, Upton Stout, and Malachi Moore.
I mean, we're splitting hairs, two interceptions versus 1, but I might, if I had to put a chip down for interception leader among rookies, I might take Hairston, for the IDP reason of he's got a really good corner on the other side, and they're going to throw at him until he proves otherwise.
I'm just looking here. Who else would fall into that category? I mean, you always favor the safeties over the.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of it as well, and they have to have a clear starting. I like the free safeties better. That's why Starks
makes sense.
Gets more of a bump there. But Watts has been a guy.
Watts takes the ball away.
Who takes the ball away?
Yeah.
If he's a starting free safety for the Falcons,
there'll be a couple linebacker picks too.
Yeah. Emuwari.
I would think he plays right away.
He's more of a strong, though.
Right.
He'll be down in the box. Will Johnson would be or Trey Amos would be guys that
absolutely
that you look at there, and obviously Travis Hunter is Travis Hunter. I don't know how much he plays on defense.
Ball skills are great.
Yeah.
I mean, if 50-50 stuff, he's going to take it away.
Yeah. So that's
interception one. I don't know how you do that from this perspective. The yardage and touchdown stuff.
If that's the case, and if Malachi Starks leads our rookies in tackles and also leads them in interceptions, he should probably be defensive.
I'd say he'll be in the hunt.
Yeah.
Again, though, I think Schlesinger is the one to pick in terms of just production.
Yeah.
He always going to be on the field.
Got a clear path.
Yeah. None of the edge rushers, especially because Carter's situation, not because I think he's a bad player. And what we said was, boy, it's a good edge class. I don't know that I'd pick any of them to be rookie of the year.
It's difficult. I mean,
Mike Green?
TJ Watt had 7.5 his rookie year.
Yeah. Mike Green could be the leader in sacks. I mean, if they're playing with a bunch of leads, I don't know how much he'll play, but maybe.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get to a break. He is the Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley. That's going to do it for our semi-fantasy football focus there. That was Mike Clay's list of rookie production in year 1. We will be back with more right after this. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson, and this is The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. And as I mentioned earlier, you can hear The Drive this week, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Next week, we will be live during the OTA sessions. I'll give you a time on that later in the week, but I'm guessing it's going to be between about 10:30 to 1 or 10 to 1.
That's what I think it's been in the past, give or take.
Yeah. And then that will be Tuesday through Thursday. No video anymore at that point until we get back to training camp. But you can always download the Steelers mobile app, and then you don't have to go searching for the show.
Yeah, that's easy.
It goes right to your phone. Matt, Pro Football Focus has put together their wide receiver rankings ahead of the 2025 season. And I wanted to go through these. They've tiered these much like they did the quarterbacks.
Gotcha.
And so we've got 6 tiers of the top 32.
32, okay.
Tier 6 guys are Deebo Samuel, Cortland Sutton, Jamison Williams.
I don't know if I could put Deebo in that list.
I don't know if I could. See, I've already looked at this one.
I haven't.
And I'm not going to talk out of both sides of my mouth on this one. George Pickens should be on this list somewhere.
Oh, if he's not, I'd put him over all 3 of those guys.
I would put him over those 3 guys.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Easily.
Yeah.
I'm a Williams fan, but there's some inconsistencies.
He's a good player,
there,
but he's also missed a lot of time because of stuff.
I think Deebo's declining rapidly.
Yeah. Sutton's a good receiver.
He had a really
I don't know
good
he's a
season.
great receiver.
No, I think he'd be a great 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tier 5.
I'm surprised Pickens doesn't make the top 32.
Zay Flowers.
Okay.
Marvin Harrison Jr. That might be a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if his last name was Williamson, it'd be on there.
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Okay.
Rashee Rice. Josh Downs.
They're all about the same age. You can kind of see why they're lumping them in there. I'm a big Downs fan. I don't know that his production will match his talents considering his situation. I can't really fight any of that, though. It's a pretty good group.
I might have put Pickens ahead of those guys.
Yeah. At least with them.
At the very least, he's in that group somewhere.
Right.
Yeah. The next group. This is a bigger one, Tier 4. Devontae Smith.
Solid.
Chris Godwin.
Really, really good year last year, too. I like Godwin's game.
Brandon Ayuk.
Yes.
Last year wasn't kind to him, even pre-injury.
No, it wasn't. But if it was a year going into last year, he would have definitely been in my top 10. So to drop him into the 20s, I think, is fair. And he was coming off an injury, started real slow. No, he wasn't coming off an injury. He was coming off a holdout. Yeah. And started real slow, and then he got injured. If he can get back to, I just traded him for him in a dynasty league. I think he's a buy low.
He's not going to be back until midseason.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right.
DJ Moore at 20.
Last year wasn't kind to him either.
Jalen Waddle at 21.
That's fine.
Lad McConkey at 22.
I'm glad he's in that neighborhood. I think he'll even be higher when it's said and done.
DK Metcalf at 23.
Okay.
Chris Olave at 24.
I think that's a pretty good tier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that's insane.
And I don't know that I would have put Pickens in that group.
I think I'd have been the last one with Zay Flowers.
Yeah, I think you'd have been in the group just behind it. It's people arguing that Metcalf is better than Pickens. He has just more production. He's done this for a longer time.
I would have him in a tier above, like they did. Well, if we'd had Pickens in the Flowers tier.
Yeah. Tier 3. This is a big one as well. Mike Evans at 9.
Still a stud.
Terry McLaurin at 10.
Still kind of a stud.
11 is Drake London.
Yeah. I would have London ahead of Pickens.
12 is Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, he belongs there now.
13 is Garrett Wilson.
Yes, his situation hasn't been wonderful.
14 is T. Higgins.
T. Higgins versus DK Metcalf is a conversation.
It's a conversation.
Right.
15, Brian Thomas.
DK would do pretty well with Jamar Chase on the other side.
He sure would. Yes.
Thomas belongs in that neighborhood, too. Those rookies are strong.
16 is Devontae Adams.
He still has it.
Still.
Yeah. I got no problem with that.
Now, he could drop off of that.
No question.
At some point.
I mean,
he's 32.
I don't think he's going to go up.
Yeah, he's 32. He's only going down.
Yeah. His game age is slow, though.
Tier 2. Not as many guys here. Amon-Ra St. Brown at 4.
Production's crazy.
Puka Nacua at 5.
His production's crazy, too. He's got to stay on the field, too.
CeeDee Lamb at 6.
I'd have Lamb ahead of those two if you were just ranking them straight out, but they're in the same tier.
Nico Collins at 7.
That's where he belongs.
Tyreek Hill at 8.
Ooh. He had a rough year, man.
He had a rough year, but there were some injury factors there.
There was a hand.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'd rank him. Would you put him in, is he still tier 2? I mean, a year ago, he's tier 1.
He still scares the hell out of you.
Yes. Even if he's slightly slower or explosive, he's still the most explosive guy in the field. I'll leave him at 2. Okay.
The Tier 1 guys, there's only 3. Their number 1 guy is A.J. Brown.
He would be 3 for me, but his situation really hurts his numbers. I think Jefferson and Chase are like all-time greats.
They have Jefferson at 2, Chase at 3.
I would go Jefferson, Chase, Brown. Would you have Brown over like CeeDee Lamb?
And now we're in that situation. This is the thing with receivers. All wide receivers are not. They don't all situations aren't the same.
Not even close. They're dependent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And CeeDee Lamb plays in the slot a lot more than like if you put A.J. Brown in the slot.
Right. On a passing on the Bengals. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I'm looking at it is I don't care what's on the back of your football card as much as what I just see.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Brown is 1 because he's phenomenal. But the stats aren't going to be close. I mean, Jamar Chase has won the Triple Crown.
The scary thing about it is that A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf are on the same college team.
Oh, it's nuts. Right. It's nuts.
I mean, they're both these massive monster wide receivers.
And they're humongous, whatever Ole Miss was doing, right. And actually, so was Waddle and Smith. And, right. Jefferson and Chase is the craziest.
Yeah.
I mean, getting Burrow throwing to him.
Yeah. But
who would be your 1? Mine's Jefferson by a hair.
I would probably have Jefferson 1.
I think he has the most receiving yards per game in NFL history.
Yeah. I mean, he's done it even when they've had bad quarterbacks.
It doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter one bit.
It doesn't seem that, he just goes out and puts up his 100 yards and you can't stop it.
And even contested balls, all levels. I have no negatives on Chase either.
No, they're both great players.
They're great players.
Every guy on this list is a very good football player.
The fact that Pickens didn't make it, like we think he should, but we could probably come up with 5 or 6 other names at that position.
Folks, we're saying something nice about a guy who's not here anymore. We never do that. You just rip a guy and he's going out to no.
Right.
That's
but
not
boy,
the
there's
case.
a lot of good receivers not on the list.
Yeah.
It's
the position.
Such a competitive
Like if
position.
the Steelers if they acquire another wide receiver, and say, well, he's not a top 32 receiver. Fine.
Right.
Like if he's a top 50 receiver, you're still
an impact player.
Really good.
Right.
Like they're good players. I'm just thinking about who's not on this list.
I was just scanning my brain. I mean, like just in the AFC, I always start by division, and it's like Shakir, Diggs. I mean, just in that division right off the bat, they're like, these guys are pretty good, and you're still not on the list. Again, I'm going. Judy was a Pro Bowler last year.
Yeah.
Not on the list.
Not on the list.
Right. Ridley, again, division by division. Pittman, he had kind of a down year. Downs made it. That's 3 divisions off the top of my head that are all really good players. Don't make the list.
Yeah, and there again, this is 32. There are 32 teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these guys are on the same team.
Oh yeah,
each other.
Yeah. The Eagles have 2. Bucks have 2. Miami has 2. It'd be great to have 2.
It's fantastic to have 2.
And the Steelers almost did for a while.
Yeah. If I'm questioning some of the guys who are on the list, like is this too early for Marvin Harrison?
Maybe. I thought his season was good, not great, but expectations were too high, crazy. But I'd have him over Debo. Debo's the name that
I don't think Debo belongs on there anymore.
Right. It's not too early for like Smith-Njigba for me though. I mean, he was a target monster.
Yeah. Rashee Rice, to me, is a good player, but he hasn't done it for a complete season.
I'd like to see him on the field more.
Right. I'd like to see a full season of doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm glad, like, Cooper Kupp isn't on there anymore. Again, I'm just scanning the teams in my head. How about a Jaden Reed? Probably not, but he's a really good player.
Yeah.
That's a tough list to make. I mentioned a couple in the AFC I think are close. Who won't be on there next year? I don't think Debo will be on there next year. I hope like Evans and McLaurin don't fall off, and Adams and some of those older guys, Tyreek.
I just want to call up the receptions leaders here from last year and see
Who are the top guys that didn't make it that were most productive?
Yeah. Just looking here. Jacoby Myers had 87 catches.
I almost mentioned him.
1,027 yards last year.
I don't think he should make the list, but still.
Their quarterback situation was not great.
Good player.
He had to fight with Brock Bowers for receptions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when we bring him up, I think he's vastly underrated.
Right.
I mean,
we've thrown his name out as a Steeler trade target, and he'd be very, very useful.
He had a more productive year than who was on that list? Jamison Williams.
Yeah.
Williams had 58 catches for 1,001 yards.
Okay.
He had a more productive season than T. Higgins. Now, Higgins missed time.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Moore, 17 games, 98 catches for 966
Moore
yards.
didn't have a great year.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue that Darnell Mooney had a better year.
Yeah. Mooney had a big year. Should Jordan Addison be on that list?
Marvin Harrison is a rookie, 62 catches for 885 yards and 8 touchdowns. That's why I'm saying I don't know that he belongs on that list.
Yeah.
Over some of these other guys that have done it year in and year out.
I think Pickens is a better player than Harrison right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's better than 5 or 6 on that list.
How about Juwan Jennings?
I can't get there, but he had a monster year.
A monster year.
Yeah.
Certainly better than Deebo Samuel's year.
It was. I would have Ayuk over both of them, for sure.
Who else was on that list? Was Devontae Smith on there?
Yes, both Eagles were.
Yeah,
but their production's always going to be low.
Yeah, but even at that, I mean, he missed 4 games. It's 68.
Oh, he missed 4 games.
Yeah, 68 catches in 13 games. I mean, he had 9 more total yards than Alec Pierce last year.
Yeah, Pierce had a couple long touchdowns and that kind of stuff.
Josh Downs had 803 yards on 72 catches.
Did he miss time?
He played in 14 games.
14, okay.
Yeah.
Like Devontae Smith might not even be like a fantasy starter. As good a football player as he is.
Yeah.
Is he in the top 36 in terms of production week to week? I don't know.
It's really, I mean, there aren't that many guys last year that had, you're talking 24 total players had 1,000 receiving yards.
Including like Bowers.
And some of those were tight ends.
Yeah.
So the idea that, you got to, it's
not as easy to get to as you think.
No.
And health obviously factors in.
Health is a huge factor.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mike Evans, if you remember, barely got there.
Oh, he had to
and they had to force it.
They kind of force it a little bit, right?
Because he missed 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways,
that's not a bad list.
Yeah, let's get to a break here. He is Matt Williamson. I am Dale Lolley, and you're listening to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. When we come back, we're going to be joined by a special guest. Not telling you who it is. You're going to have to figure it out when you come back. Don't go anywhere. He's Matt. Again, you're listening to The Drive right here on the Steelers Audio Network. And we are back. I am Dale Lolley. He is the Matt Williamson. And we are joined on the Justin Miller hotline by new Steelers cornerback Darius Slay. I'm going to call you Mr. Slay. I know you like to be called Slay. But I haven't gotten the chance to meet you yet, Darius, and I don't feel right calling you just by your last name. I'm going to call you Mr. Slay. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's cool.
Anyway, so we welcome you to Pittsburgh. We're really excited to have you on the show today, and we appreciate you dropping by and taking some time here with us. And I'm looking here at your numbers over your career, and some of these things are just astounding. Your 2017 season, you led the NFL in interceptions with 8. You also had 26 pass defenses that year. 26.
Yeah.
There are guys who have entire careers and they don't get their hands on 26 footballs. What was that season like for you? Your first team All-Pro that year. What was that season like? Were you just in the zone that year and like everything that was thrown your way was like slow motion?
Did you follow number 1 receivers quite a bit that year too?
Yeah, I've been following number 1 receiver since probably like 15.
Okay.
So as I got acclimated with doing that, it got easier, comfortable. My studying got a lot better because I really had to just focus on one guy and just take away everything that he likes to do. And I was just I got better at, catching the rock, too, for a little bit, too. It was hard to catch them picks, so I got a little better with that. But, I was really locked in that year. Real good year for me, real solid. Also, I wish I had them. I wish they, I would probably have this as a player of the year, with the cornerback stuff that went into DP or why now. I would have probably won it then. But back then, they didn't look at it like that.
Yeah, I mean, those are defensive player of the year
really
type
are,
numbers.
yeah.
I mean, that is legit.
A strong case.
And over the course of your career, if you look at it, you've had double-digit pass defenses every season except your rookie year and then in 2020 and 2021. The last three seasons, you've had double-digit pass defenses. You're just a guy that makes plays on the football.
Yeah, that's what I'm. That's my job to do, make plays on the football. I got great instincts. I'm a guy that's really competitive, man. And that's one thing it tells you about me as a cornerback, that I'm always, close to my defender. A lot of guys I feel like that, that's not close to their defender don't have a lot of PBU. So, and I play against a lot of great quarterbacks, and I'm always used to be the one traveling. So, I get the best route runners. I go against some of the best quarterbacks. And it'd be hard to pick these guys also. At least that the fact that I'm close and I'm close enough to them to make affection on the ball. So that's the good thing about me, that I stay close by a defender and give me a chance to make a play on the ball.
Go ahead, Matt.
And say, have the Steelers talked much about you defending number one receivers? That's something they've done with Joey quite a bit. So I wonder how that might work out, or is it too early to have those conversations?
Well, it's probably too early. I don't know what they plan is technically about me if I'm traveling now. But I'm 34 years old. Even though I think I can still do it at a very, very elite level. But I think Joey is a great guy, man, a great player. I've been watching this film a long time. I think it's really time for him to, to shine. And I'm just here to help him, make sure he's the best player he could possibly be. Give him all the tools that I had learned from a lot of my older guys and OGs I had played with in the league. So I think it's really his time, man. I'm here to help him, blossom up. And he's already a great player as it is, just help him continue to keep climbing his ceiling.
How much does it help you that you're being reunited with Terrell Austin here in Pittsburgh?
Oh, it's been great, man. We stayed having a great relationship since 2014, since the first time he stepped a foot in Detroit. And he loved me as a corner when I was coming out. He wanted to draft me then. And so we got a great opportunity to work with each other for 4 years, 5 maybe. And he became a real good friend of mine, a real good mentor for me. Like he said, he loved the corner room. That's one of his specialties. That's his, before he's a DC, that what he coaches the corner. So we had a lot of great stuff in common, and we got a great, he understands the position, and you don't win everyone, but he knows how to put you in a position to help succeed. So I just learned from the defense from him, just watching him and meeting up with him in the mornings for a long time when I was young. So he did a lot of justice in my career at a young age.
Have you matched up much against DK Metcalf over the years? And if so, tell our listeners what the Steelers are getting in that guy.
Oh, man, me and him had a lot of great competition. Man.
Good.
We had played against each other one time before, but just watching him from afar, he's amazing, man. Great deep ball threat. Guys going to attack the ball. Guys play with a lot of passion. And he worked, so, still got a great hands. We're definitely with him being a guy that's extended too with an extra 5 years. They got a great receiver in hands, man. So I know he's going to do some great things here. And, he's going to be one of the best in the business.
Pretty good size, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, man. He's a freak of nature, man. He's a guy that's 6'3", running like that, and just, and yeah, he see with his shirt off. He's like an android.
I'm excited to see him in minicamp.
Darius, you've been around the league. You've played your entire career, however, in the NFC. Are you looking forward to seeing what the AFC has to offer here? I mean, Cincinnati has 2 really good receivers, and you look around some of these other guys. At this point, I mean, Matt and I just went over the top a list of the top 32 receivers in the league, and there were a bunch of guys that weren't even on that list. I mean, it just seems like everybody has that dude now. Regardless of how good you are or how bad you are, everybody has a receiver now that is really dangerous.
Yes, that's what the game is evolving to, man. The quarterback play and the receiver play. Back when I was coming in the game, it was usually just one dominant receiver, and then everybody else kind of like fill in and get in where you fit in. But now teams need two, dominant guys, because I think the corner position and the defense is it's taking away that dominant guy. Now you got to worry about two of them. So the game's just evolving, and become more of a passing league, and not really run heavy. Some teams still run the ball heavy, but a lot of teams just don't do that anymore. They think about the quarterback position getting $50-60 million, and I'm sure a lot of folks don't want to see them handing the ball off a lot. But it be like that. So, but there's a lot of teams, man, that just need two dominant guys to win games, and that's what the league is going to.
Are you looking forward to these OTA sessions next week? The first opportunity. I know there's been guys in and out of the building, and guys have done stuff, but this first opportunity to kind of get to see everybody all at once in more of a group fashion here.
Yeah, man. We looking forward to that, man, because getting back to the competitive spirit of just grinding, competing, and learning the playbooks, and going out here trying to get each other better. So we're looking forward to. I know everybody trying to get themselves ready to go for the season, but it's a good time for good learning and good exercising, and just understanding your players and understanding your teammates.
So last year you were an integral part on a Super Bowl winning team. Congratulations, by the way. That had to be incredible. And,
thank you. Yeah.
What lessons did you learn, and how amazing was the experience overall, and how can you take that to the new team? Teaching these guys to maybe get to those levels.
Man, I learned a lot from just my years in Philly. Being that I went to the Super Bowl twice. Just knowing what it takes, what I'm saying? My first time getting past the first round of the playoffs was 3 years ago in 2022. Okay. Every other time I was first knocked out. So I ain't never had that experience. I ain't know what to expect. So going into my first time making it, I learned that, make sure your body's good to go for the whole long run. And, but it all started with great leadership and great guys that's really willing to work. I think it's a great thing that this team I'm going to right now with the Pittsburgh, I think it got a great mixture of younger guys that's very, very talented and guys that's, older that's still very, very talented. So, and I think that's what it takes, because both of my teams that I played on in Philly that made it got that kind of, that look, an older team with younger guys that's ready to go. So that's all it is, and then everybody just has to buy in. So, and that's hard for a lot of guys to do when the money is involved, because everybody, job is mostly they want to win games, but some guys, play the game to take care of their family. And that's just the honest truth about it. Mm-hmm. But when everybody buys in and everybody got one goal in mind, I think that's the main key of winning.
Well, our guest has been Darius Big Play Slay, or Mr. Slay, or just Slay, as he likes to be called.
Yeah, those interceptions of PBUs, man.
Big play of the Slay.
It all plays well. That's the key there. Darius, we appreciate you dropping by and spending some time with us. We'll catch up with you next week at OTA sessions and down the road here. Looking forward to that, and good luck this season. Wish you all the luck here. Happy to have you in Pittsburgh, and you should be a great addition to this franchise.
All right, thank you.
That was Darius Slay, Steelers' new cornerback.
I didn't realize some of those numbers you pulled out.
The numbers are crazy.
Yeah.
Again, getting 8 interceptions in a season.
It's really difficult.
In this league. He has 28 in his career.
Yeah.
But
this isn't the 70s where they're just chucking it up.
No.
Right. I mean, all the quick hitters and the precise passing games.
And 26 pass defenses. And if you look at his number, I mean, he's got – even the last 3 seasons in Philadelphia, 13 pass breakups last year, 14 the year before that, 14 the year before that. I mean,
okay, that's a lot.
And you're a guy that has that reputation. Mm-hmm. Like typically, if you have an 8 interception season, you break up 26 passes, nobody's throwing your way.
Sure.
And even if you're traveling with the number one,
I'd say he's often with the best receiver though too.
But you're making plays on the football, and that will get the attention. But he's had 2 seasons of 17 pass defenses.
Okay. The
26th one, and every other season, except for the 3 where he didn't quite get to double digits, he's had at least 13 pass breakups.
Wow. The one thing that stuck with me too, just chatting with him, was he talked about how long it is when you win the Super Bowl and taking care of your body and all that. And we know he's not a young player. he played his best football. Not that it was bad during the regular season, but his postseason stuff was really high end. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his playoff stats over the years, even, and he's played in 11 playoff games.
Oh, really? Those
again,
Lions teams weren't great for a while.
No, they weren't. He had the interception last year in the playoffs. He had 5 pass breakups in the playoffs last year. That was the most of anybody.
Yeah, he had a really good playoff run.
Yeah, so I think he just knows
how to get his hands on the ball.
He just knows how to get his and there's a skill to that. There are a lot of defensive backs out there. Well, he was right in position to make the play.
Right.
Terrell Edmonds comes to mind when I think about that. That you're in position to make a play on the ball, but you can't find the football.
Can't find the football too, and I think he mentioned that earlier. Even working on your hands and ball skills and eyes. I mean, a lot of that stuff too. The fact that you got 8 in that 1 year is pretty hard to do. That's pretty tight company.
And I think, to your point, I think Joey Porter can learn a lot from a guy like Darius Slay.
I think 100%, no question about it.
Yeah. So
and they all can be,
everybody in that room can learn some things from him.
And not to mention him and Kenny Gainwell won a Super Bowl last year. You bring those guys into town, that rubs off.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Appreciate Darius. Big play Slay.
Big play
or
Slay.
Or just Slay, as he likes to be known.
I didn't know that part, right.
Yeah.
Even when he called in, he's like, hey, it's Slay. Like, all right, man.
It's a cool name, though.
It is a cool name.
I mean.
Rhymes with a lot of stuff,
if my name was Slay, I think maybe I'd go. Lolley doesn't sound. People just say Lolley. I'm like, I don't love that.
Well, right.
Williamson. Doesn't sound as cool.
Too long.
Slay.
Yeah, it's good.
It's Slay.
No, that was great.
Absolutely. Appreciate him dropping by. Get a chance to talk to some of these guys, more of these guys, as we get into OTA sessions and things of that nature next week. But that's going to do it for our show today. So for my partner, Matt Williamson, for Justin Miller here on site, running the Justin Miller hotline and the soundboard, and for Tyler Vittmeyer, making sure our video gets out there on the YouTube. Give us a thumbs up there. I am Dale Lolley. We thank you for listening to this edition of The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network.
Steelers football happens here. The Pittsburgh Steelers Audio Network.